What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream, and feels good to be back to another live stream of content. And today we have something different. Yes, we are going to basically review or react to some videos that were popular in the last couple months, and I'm super excited about that. Gives me the opportunity to also save some energy for another live streams, but also at the same time, it's a little bit less exhausting for me. So, and it will be fun. It will be fun because some of these videos I haven't watched yet, and some of the other videos I've actually watched them already, but it was a long time ago that I don't remember anymore. So, excited to see everyone, how everyone is feeling today. Are you guys having a good week so far? Having a busy week, between Laravel, but also at the same time, gym workout, which I'm doing pretty much every single day. It's been busy, but happy to see you all, how everyone is doing today. CVT Mal, how you doing? Ayo Joel, how you doing? Evening again. Pick and Flow is saying the following: hey, I actually made it on time. I need a new job that doesn't expect me to work all day. Hey dude, it's pretty cool to see that you are able to join in time today. It's always cool to have you. Tell me something, Pick and Flow. Where are you from exactly? Hey Duca-chan, how you doing? Duca-chan, by the way, I know you're Portuguese, and we are planning a Laravel Portugal meetup. A PHP Portugal meetup, apologize. And that's happening basically in May, and it will be in Lisbon. So, you told me that you are from Portugal, so hopefully we will be able to just, do some stuff together, AGL is saying, don't we all need, referring to Peak and Flow, a new job position. Hey CVT Mal, how you doing? Back with Snacks, nice to see you. Roberto Luis Cruz, nice to see you as well. Pick and Flow is from Kentucky, US. Interesting. Yeah, Duca-chan, I expect you to see there, okay? Hedy, how you doing? Man, nice to see you as well. Reco, Diego, and the Geek Nomad. I'm doing fantastic, dude. Thank you so much for asking. Busy week so far, I won't lie, but excited to be back for another live stream. And tomorrow we don't have live stream tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow I'm gonna head to Coimbra, which is a city close by my town, and I will be with Francisco Madeira, Lucas, which are big friends of mine, but also it'll be fun. AGL is saying I will be in Portugal in holiday in May. Of course you can join, dude. It will be so cool. Do that, please. Oh my god, that's exciting news, man. So happy about that. Back in Stack is saying, see you in Denver. Laracon US, you mean? It will be so cool, man. Excited to be there.
Our senses. Another month. Thank you, Nuno.
Thank you for your support, man. You are awesome. Thank you for your support. 3 months already. You are awesome. Thank you, thank you. Duca-chan is saying, we'll be sharing more details about the meetup on Discord. Yes, I will.
CVTMAL.
6 months? Dude. Thank you for your support, CVTML. I really appreciate. 6 months is a bunch, so I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you. But yeah, we'll be sharing details about PHP Portugal on the Discord. David is asking, hi Nuno, do you remove Forge for all of your projects and now you just use Cloud? Yes, I have migrated everything I have to Cloud. I just have one application on Forge at the moment, which is running on Rust. So I want to migrate that one as well to Cloud once Cloud support anything else besides PHP. Hey man, how you doing? So today I have a plan, okay? I have a plan for today. Okay, let me show you. So I have basically a bunch of different videos I have opened that we can react, you know what I mean, all together. And I have one called The Biggest Scams in Software Engineering. That's the first one. The second one is from Aaron Francis, and it says, PHP doesn't suck anymore. I remember watching this video, but it was, a long time ago, so I barely remember the content. Then we have repeating the database queries and refactor with AI, junior code review from Laravel Daily. I don't know, you guys know Laravel Daily, right? Laravel Daily is very popular. So, you know, they have like 151k subscribers, which is insane. And, you know, I'm going to react to this video because I think it will be a lot for us to discuss on this video. I think it will be fun. Funny enough, I'm a big friend of Povilas. We actually had a call yesterday about discussing basically my YouTube channel and his thoughts on my YouTube channel. Then there was a fun discussion, you know. Oh, the code he reviews is terrible? Well, we are about to find out, okay? By the way, chat, if you know a very good video from Povilas that you wish me to react, let me know. If you think there is a better one than this one, call it repeating DB queries. So just go to his YouTube channel. I'm gonna post here on the chat. And if you have any video that you just know that will be good to review, let me know. Otherwise, we have hiring in 2025 versus hiring in 2021. And we have another one from Povilas, this one, which is Laravel API's 3 bad practices. I'm gonna probably move this to here, I guess, because I'm not sure these ones are actually funny. Could probably put this one here, so we'd have 2 videos of Povilas today. What do you guys think? Sounds a good idea or not? What do you guys think about this? Should we just get started? Oh, Hype Train, thank you, folks. Oh, you like his videos? Yeah, he's pretty cool, dude. That's for sure. Okay, should we start with Aaron Francis instead? Which videos do you guys prefer to start? Should we start with biggest scams in software engineering or PHP doesn't suck anymore by Aaron Francis? Write on the chat which video you want to see first. Okay, Ducatan wants to see first Aaron Francis. Luis wants to see Aaron Francis as well. Hey, what's up, Even? Nice to see you, man. Rafael is saying, hi, bro. I watched a not much old video from you that you say will release the best practical rules for AI. That you built on that video. Can you share the link with us? Yeah, absolutely. I can share it right now if you want to. So those rules, those AI rules, are basically part of the starter kit I'm building, and I'm gonna send it to you, okay? Here we go, chat. Here we go. Some good AI rules for you all. Here we go. Here we go. Pretty much, you know, I think this have a bunch of space to improve, by the way. These AI rules we have written so far, there is a bunch of space to improve. Honestly, this may improve over time, but, you know, AI so far, at least for me, have proven a little bit only solving this bootstrapping problem, this scaffolding problem. I don't feel it's still there yet for, you know, for maintaining a project, or a big one at least. Haven't used AI, like at least vibe coding AI, on any of my big projects at the moment, because it's just too much context, basically. Okay. Okay, you guys want Aaron? Let's go with Aaron Francis. Okay, this video, it's called PHP Doesn't Suck Anymore, and it's from Aaron Francis 1 year ago, 200k views, which is insane, and 10k likes as well, including my own, of course. And yeah, I guess we just get started on this. Okay, as usual, you guys will let me know how is the audio of the video, okay? Alas is saying, hello from Nigeria. Hey dude, how you doing? Thank you for coming today. Hey Rafael Cavaleiro, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the live stream. Alright, chat. Before we start, you guys tell me how is the audio from the video, okay? If it's too loud, if it's not too loud, you guys let me know, okay?
Every time I make a video on PHP, which is basically all the videos I make,
Okay, that was Aaron Francis' voice. This is my own voice. Let's go again.
I get the exact same comment.
Okay, how is the audio so far? Is it good? Is it even working? Let me know. Hi Celestino, nice to see you. Audio is low. Can you elaborate on what is low? Is it my microphone or Aaron Francis is audio? What is low exactly, Luis? On YouTube, everyone is saying that the audio is good. Carol is asking, why do I avoid fillable on models? Because I'm using the validated method from requests. So, I don't need that anymore. Hey, Trenton Code, how you doing? Audio is perfect. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit higher on Aaron Francis, but I think it should be good. All right, good. Let's go. Let's start on this. So again, video is called PHP Doesn't Suck Anymore from Aaron Francis.
Every time I make a video on PHP, which is basically all the videos I make, I get the exact same comment. PHP is dead. PHP.
Okay, I'm going to start already here reacting to this because most of the people I have seen, people, making these comments comes from people who haven't seen the language from 10 years already. You know what I mean? So these people saying that PHP is dead or PHP is bad or the ecosystem is bad, the only reason why they are saying this, it's because they haven't tried the language in the last 10, 15 years. Because realistically, the PHP now in 2025 is an awesome language. Honestly, if you are jumping into the programming world, PHP is an awesome language. You have things like Laravel, who are super powerful. You have PHP Stand, which is the equivalent of TypeScript. You have Past for testing, which is the equivalent of Jest, for example. You have Composer, which is probably the best package management in the world. So, these comments right here come from people who haven't tried PHP in the last 10 years, okay? And I'm pretty confident about that. And now we are getting exactly transcode. Now we are getting native PHP, which is literally mobile development, just like React Native for your mobile phones, which is insane, insane. Inda, I'm doing fantastic, man. We can talk about salaries. Honestly, I've been thinking about making a live stream just about salaries. And that live stream will be basically me sending you guys a link where you can literally just say your salary like anonymously, and we are going to have all of the salaries from the viewers and then do some stats on those salaries, depending where you're from, you know what I mean? I think it'll be super fun to literally understand the salaries in the PHP world. Roberto99 is saying Composer in PHP Stan should be promoted on. Pick and Flow is already saying his salary. It's insane. Dude, let's save that to another discussion. Composer in PHP Stan should be promoted on the PHP website. I know that I think it's Matt Stauffer is currently working with the PHP Foundation to literally make a website where he will basically talk about all the cool things in PHP. You know what I mean?
Sucks all the time, every time. And most of the people that think PHP is dead haven't looked at PHP since like 2012, which is before 5.4 came out. And listen, things were a lot.
I literally just said this. So fun.
Different in 2012. I had just graduated college with a degree in accounting for some.
Wait, what? That was Aaron Francis? I had no idea he had the hair like this. That's crazy. That's insane. Wow.
A degree in accounting for some reason. This guy was still the president over here. This movie was in theaters, and honestly, pretty good movie. Our music went through this real weird hey ho phase where we were always shouting hey ho in the songs.
Can
So
we
I
have
think
this
it's
music?
safe to
I
say
guess.
that a lot has changed since 2012. I'm no longer an accountant, and PHP no longer sucks. I'm going to run you through a bunch of the language changes that have happened since around 2012 when PHP 5.4 came out, and stick around to the very end because we're going to talk about types. We got to talk about type safety. Every time I talk
Oh
about
yeah.
PHP, people just say, yeah, I just need types. We got to have types. What about types? Do you guys have types? I can't leave my types. We've got
PHP was built in PHP, but also like there is a bunch of websites that you use today that are still built with PHP. Honestly, a bunch of Facebook, it's still PHP behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I think they at some point they basically forked the language, but they probably made a mistake because PHP today is better than Hack. You know what I mean in terms of features and more. So yeah, Slack is in PHP as well. So
types. So I'm going to show you all the different types you can do at the end. Let's take a look at these changes. Going all the way back to 2012 for this one, PHP 5.4 included traits. So instead of writing the same method body over and over.
I don't know what you guys think. I'm not a big fan of traits. You know, I think traits are a confusing term or a confusing technical thing. Basically, I very rarely use traits. You know, only when I really have to. But I rarely use traits in my code at the moment. Do you guys use traits, or it's something that you typically avoid because you think they are confusing for some reason? Oh yeah, the prunable Tate. That was me. That was me, prunable Tate. I basically inspired myself on this posse package that I have the prunable Tate, and I bring that to Laravel world. Okay, let me rephrase my opinion on traits. I think traits are useful, but not for taking methods out of your class just because you want to make your class smaller. Okay? Yeah, exactly, even. I was about to say that. I think traits are useful if you use them to share code between controllers, for example. You know what I mean? So if you have like this specific code that you need to share between controllers or between models, you can actually use traits for that, but I don't think traits are good sometimes when people use them just to take methods out of models, for example, or out of controllers. I think overall, having a big controller, but also like having a big model is not actually a problem. You know what I mean? You just have to scroll a little bit. That's fine. This is actually exactly, Luis. I think this example right here with class post in class image is actually a very good example because you have this function right here being reused between two models. So this is actually a very good example of traits. But again, just because we have this doesn't mean that typically I would use something like this. You know what I mean? Because if I have something like add comment, I would probably encapsulate that within an action, for example. You know what I mean? So I would have something like create comment as an action, and I would potentially inject that action on my model, for example. So it's like, for me, it's about replacing traits with dependency injection, which typically solves all of the problems. So traits is like, I don't know, I feel it's a very specific use case. Again, yeah, if you need to calculate the difference between two dates, I would probably move that to the support folder, for example. You know what I mean? So,
Over, or instead of abusing inheritance, we now have composition, so you can have traits and include those in every class, favoring composition over inheritance. Short array syntax. Imagine
just by the way, having traits is still 1,000 times better than using inheritance. On this, I do agree with Aaron Francis. Inheritance is, you know, unless you are a framework author or whatever, is almost a bad solution for a problem. Okay, literally, just extending a class, it's, you know, I don't think like on Laravel Cloud we don't extend a single class once. Only the classes from the framework. You know what I mean? Every single time we don't use inheritance ever. We always use literally just actions and dependency injection all the time to reuse code basically. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Luis. I appreciate you saying that. Rafael is saying, don't repeat, you know what I mean, too much. Dude, it's just, I cannot avoid it. I can make an effort if you want to, but I cannot avoid it, you know? I don't use the base controller on Laravel. Yeah, I think Cloud is my own, but also from the team, the best piece of software I have ever written in terms of web, basically. In terms of web application, is undeniably the best piece of web application I have ever written in my life. It have everything I have learned during my years of experience. You know what I mean? Like actions, services, not abusing irritants. It has everything I have ever learned on programming. We don't use final classes on Laravel Cloud because we don't need it. Like as a team, we are very experienced developers, and I feel like we don't use initerations anyways. So I just don't have the keyword final, but we behave like final classes basically. Oh, thank you, Peak and Flow. Okay, I'm gonna do an effort, Rafael in Inda, to say I don't know, to not say what I don't know. You know what I mean. Cloud has a bunch of actions, dozens of dozens at the moment.
Writing out the word array like a caveman when you can just use square brackets. Short array syntax allows you to use square brackets. Thank you very much. We now have array destructuring. It used to be that you would have to assign an array to a temporary variable and then reference those elements by index if you wanted to assign them to other variables. Now, you can just use array destructuring and directly assign.
This is still something I don't see a lot. Okay, I don't see a lot of people using this syntax, but it's pretty cool. I use an abuse of stuff like this. Okay.
The variables from the array. We have first-class variadic functions, so you can pass as many arguments to a function as you want using this ... syntax. Speaking of ... syntax, you can use that same syntax to spread or splat an array into an argument list for a function call.
I had no idea that just literally doing something like this is called splat an array.
List for a function call. You can use that same syntax to spread or splat an array into another array. So if you want to take all the items from one array and put it into a second array, you can do that with this spread operator. We now have generators if you want to do something memory intensive, but in a memory efficient.
Very rarely I use this. I know I don't know if you guys know the use case for this. I do know the use case for this, but typically on web applications, it's very rare that I refer to something like this. Very rare. Only if I have to. But typically, even if I have to, Laravel Collections offers me some helpers which will do this behind the scenes for me. Pick and Flow is saying no one in Nuno's chat is allowed to say that AWS is better than Laravel Cloud. Well, we use AWS behind the scenes, so. Exactly. Lazy collections use generators. That's what I was about to say. So literally, every time I need to refer to generators, typically I just use Laravel collections, which offer me a different and better API, to be fair, than this.
Way you can use a generator. So if you need to read a huge file, you don't have to load that whole file into memory. You can use a generator to yield it line by line by line. If you ever need a new class but
you never used yield, I can explain you real quick. Do you guys in the chat know what is yield or what it does? Write on the chat if you know what yield does, or if you don't. Write in the chat, I want to see. No idea? Okay, never use it? Okay. Yes and no? What is yes and no? Carl Shunt is asking or saying Laravel Cloud is just a layer on top of AWS. Well, the just is probably shouldn't be there, but it's using AWS. Yeah, that just is a big one. Good luck trying to build Laravel Cloud yourself. Okay, let's try to do a segment about yield. Let me try to remember myself. What is yield to begin with? So I know that basically yield is this possibility of, make something for reachable kind of lazy. So I can do something like this. Get elements, for example. This will return back a generator. And then I can do something like, let's actually have a real use case, because sometimes people use yields for things like SV, like Excel files. So let's type something like read file, okay, or get rows, okay. This is actually a very good example. This is a very, very good example, okay. So, typically something like a file, like a S, I don't know how to say this, SSV, SCV. Oh, I don't know. A file like this one, let's say this, is huge. It could be like a terabyte, for example, like a huge one. And, typically that will just take forever. And obviously, you don't want to load every single row to memory because you don't have enough memory to read the file like that and put it to memory. So if we solve this the very old way, we would basically load like this, rows, and then it would probably do something like this. File path and return the rows. In case you don't know, this helper here in PHP literally reads a file and puts every single new line into an array, okay? So here, what we're having back, it's literally all the rows of this given file. This is like a magic function in PHP. Anyway, regardless, if you do something like this, the problem with this kind of approach is that if you then get all the rows like this, and if you type for each one of the rows, let's just print them out. If you do something like this, the problem is that you'll be effectively loading all of these rows to memory, okay? So if I type PHP artisan demo, here we go. I have 5 lines for each one of the rows. Now, here is not a problem effectively because we have only 5 lines. But imagine for a second that you are reading from a file and you have thousands of lines. That will basically be a huge effort in memory, okay? And potentially you would exhaust all of the memory you have. So to solve this problem, what you can do is use yield, which is you go line by line and you just return them one by one like this. This is what the yield does. So here you would effectively go to the file and consume that line, go to the second line and consume that line. And what it does, this will basically do the same result, by the way.
Mansur Ka.
Hey, man, thank you so much for the subscription, tier 1. 3 months. Oh, wow, that's crazy, man. Thank you. But yeah, this is basically the way to solve, like, consuming big Excel files. So now if I do this, I have the same result, as you can see. Okay, this is the same code, behaves exactly like the previous one, but it's just so much more performant. Okay, how does that work? It's just like magic, basically. So if I do something like this, I'm going to show you an example, actually. I'm going to print here something like reading second line now. Reading third line, fourth line, and fifth line, okay? So watch this. You see, read the first line and then read the second line now. That's actually had as well this echo on top. Watch this. So, oops, this is first. Read the first line now and then prints 1, which is this thing right here, and then goes back to here and reads the second line and then done. You know, so it's literally much performant, basically. It's kind of like kind of a cursor. Basically, behind the scenes, it just preserves the the line it was reading the file, and then every time you request for a new line, it will go to that line and fetch the new one. You know what I mean? There is many different use cases where you would refer to something like yield. Another good example is when you are fetching, for example, 100 lines from the database, and you process them, and then you want to fetch again another 100 lines, for example, and you want to avoid to just literally load all of the database for your array, so you can use yields as well for that, which is effectively lazy collections, which is effectively what Laravel chunk or Laravel lazy collections are doing behind the scenes. But yeah, this is very powerful, by the way. Okay, this is very, very powerful. I hope the explanation was somehow clear, but this is very powerful. So just to recap a little bit, every time you use something like yield or you return a generator, so every time you type in generator here, you need to use yield. And every time you go to a new row on the element right here, you are effectively going to this one, and then you go to this one, and then you go to this one, always like this, okay? Yeah, this is very useful.
Can't be bothered to make a new file who
Okay, this is like insanely rare. By the way, for things like Laravel Vault or past PHP, I have used anonymous functions, but on the web development is insanely rare that I use anonymous functions. Does any of you have used anonymous functions on real world web applications? I don't. Personally, I don't. Yes, still on the topic of yields, after each line, the memory is cleared because you don't need the previous line anymore. Never, right? Yeah. Anonymous functions, if you don't know what is anonymous classes, by the way, I meant anonymous classes, not anonymous functions. Anonymous classes is this possibility of creating a new class without actually having, a name for the class, for example. That's why they're calling anonymous. Small helpers. Yeah, on testing, I may actually have used it. But besides that, not really.
that's the time.
In migrations, that's a good point. Laravel actually uses migrations. Here we go. Here we have actually anonymous classes. And there is a reason for it. Actually, it doesn't make any sense to have a name for this class. So there is actually a reason for this.
You can create an anonymous class. An anonymous class can implement an interface just like every other class. And so this is a great use case for when you need one stupid little implementation, but you don't want to make a full class for it. This is a big one. I need you to pay very, very close attention. We now have trailing commas in function call.
Never use this compact function, okay? Okay? Please write on the chat, Roger that. Okay, because never use the compact function. And I don't know why the AI actually, when I'm vibe coding, recommends me to use the compact function, because it's a weird and magic function. Okay, so write on the chat, Roger that, please. Yeah, mainly it's bad for PHP Stan, but it's also way magical for my taste.
So look very closely at email. Look at the very end of the word email and watch what's about to happen. Amazing! We now have trailing commas in method calls. PHP rules. This was
For some reason, I don't know what you guys think. I kind of wish that this trailing comma was just required, basically, which is the case on Go. We have seen yesterday on Go, the trailing comma is actually required. So you need to actually use the trailing comma every single time. And I actually use that. I like to use the trailing comma at the end. I appreciate you guys saying Roger that all the time.
Method calls, PHP rules. This one's for all my JavaScript friends. I know you love your arrow functions. Well, look out, friends. We've got arrow functions too. Ours, honestly.
Okay, the next step of array maps and not array maps, but short closures would be have multi-line short closures. And I actually have made an RFC about that, I think. You see. RFC multi-line short closures. Kind of wish we had this. Here we go. Yeah, like this was in 2022. Yeah, here you go. I have literally proposed the PHP internals team to use multi-line short closures, and we still don't have this in 2025, which is insane. Pig and Flow is saying, I do not like arrow functions. What is the point? To save typing a few characters? Exactly. Exactly. Like, why would you like to type more characters if with few characters you can literally express the same? It's just more beautiful, basically. What do you guys think? This is like gorgeous, right? You can literally just do this, bam, done. I love this. I wish I had this. Is this like the V2? Because we did the V2 on this one. Even V3, I think. Oh, I think this is the one, actually. Well, not exactly the same as function, the full function name, because this also hoists or, you know, automatically introduces the context of introduce the scope of the function, basically. So here, for example, you can use variables from the outside scope, which is, in my opinion, a good feature. So here, for example, you can use this variable even if it's declared outside of the scope, just like JavaScript, basically, you know. It's not the same as function. You can leverage the variables from the outside, basically. It's like, yeah, exactly, like JavaScript, basically. But every language, like every single language on the planet has this right now. Every single language on the planet have this syntax right now. So it's not like it's something that only PHP is planning on doing. Like literally every single language on the planet have multi-line short closures. Every single one, except PHP. Still yet to understand that. Well, I don't know about Cobalt. I don't use that language.
Well, they're a little bit worse. I don't like the FN at the...
How to get the RFC approved. So I don't know if you guys know, but every time someone sends an RFC to the PHP internals team, then they have the core team voting, and I think we need to have 2 out of 3 quarters, or 2 out of 3 of the total sum of people need to vote in favor of the RFC. I think that's it. I think that's it at the moment.
Beginning to denote.
They will never add this, but I cannot understand. I cannot understand why, but yeah.
It's a function, but hey, we work with what we've got. We have short closures or arrow functions. PHP 7 brought us the null coalescing operator, so we can say the username is equal to the username unless the username is null, in which case we'll go with guest. So we have this nice, neat null coalescing operator, but we also have the null coalescing assignment operator, which can shorthand all of that and say, if the user...
By the way, a lot of people don't know that this exists, okay? And let's do a test. How many of you knew that this exists, this specific syntax right here? How many of you? Oh, some of you actually know this syntax? Interesting. Oh, okay, apologize. It's my bad. I thought people were not using this because I haven't seen code like this. It's very rare that I actually see code like this. That's why I just, thought that you guys were not using it. I see that we have a few people that don't know the syntax. Um, so I thought that people didn't know this syntax. But well, apparently a bunch of you know.
Name is set, leave it alone.
Just by the way, one question that I have in mind sometimes: how do you guys classify the people watching my streams? Would you say that a bunch of you are experts or medium expert developers, or that is juniors, or that is like the three types? What do you guys think? Mixed bag. I'm a rookie. Senior, okay. Something in the middle. I think we have. So I'm gonna tell you what I think we have. I think we have experts here on the chat. We definitely have, senior developers. We have, you know, um, medium developers. Let's say we have juniors, but I think we have a lot of people who are always here. They don't talk. They don't talk much as well, and they probably are just literally learning programming at the moment. Oh, just in 20 years of experience. Interesting.
Otherwise, set it to guest. Speaking of nulls, we used to have to do something like this. We would pull the birthday off of the user, and then before we were allowed to call a method on birthday, we would check to see if birthday existed, because you don't want to call a method on null. But now we have the null chaining operator, and we can just say if birthday is not null, call the format function on it. If it is null, just stop the chain.
Dude, I'm such a Twitch guy. I love to be on Twitch, just watching streams. And I watch the most random streams you can think of, like people driving trucks. This is ridiculous. So don't tell this anyone. But I love like watching someone driving for 2 hours. It just relaxes my brain so much. Or someone cooking for 2 hours, but not like gourmet cooking, not like cooking the most finest burger you can think or the most finest meal. It's literally cooking the regular burger on a truck. You know what I mean? Or just making hot dogs. I love to see this stuff. Like literally people working. It just relaxes my brain for some reason. Allows me to stay focused. It's yo, you clipped. All right, it's over. Once I actually shared on the Laravel Slack team, we have this random channel which we just share videos basically, and I shared one of the videos I was watching, which is literally this guy working on a truck selling hot dogs, and just doing hot dogs for people. That's it, and that I love to see those kind of videos.
Right there. We have named arguments now. It used to be that if you wanted to skip over an optional argument, you had to leave a null in the position.
Yeah, people cooking is definitely my favorite type of videos. Like people just cooking. But again, not like the best meal in the planet, like literally just regular meals. Oh, coffee videos are also good, indeed.
Of that argument, but now we can just name our arguments and pass them in any order that we want. PHP has attributes now, which in other languages are probably called annotations, but you can add an annotation to a class or
I'm not yet convinced of attributes in PHP, so I don't use them a lot. Um, I don't know. For some reason, even if sometimes Laravel allows me to use attributes to use certain features, I still don't use them. So it's very rare that I use attributes. I don't have, for example, an attribute on the Laravel Cloud source code at the moment. Not even a single one. So we don't use attributes at all. They feel weird to me, exactly. But a lot of people love attributes. Like, I do understand that attributes are actually pretty cool. And a lot of people love attributes, and I do respect that, okay? I do respect that a lot of people love attributes today. You love lamp? What is lamp? Thick flow, what is lamp? Mantini saying, I use them for observations. Oh, what is observations, Mantini? Can you elaborate? Smith is saying attributes are better than doctrine doc blocks anyway. Yeah, but oh, I don't use doctrine. I guess you need to use them for doctrine to make doctrine happy. I never used doctrine in my life, so I have no idea what is the API of doctrine. I am aware that you need to basically specify all of the you need to have an attribute or a property for every single column in your database, but besides that, that's everything I know about doctrine. We need to do a live stream trying Symfony. That would be cool. Just doing a live stream trying Symfony, because the last time I've tried Symfony, that was like 3 years ago. I barely remember that. It could be fun. LAMP is Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. Dude, I had no idea. It looks cool though, as a developer, stack. The part of cloud that shows network, domains, region, database, and buckets is on the shard thing. That was handwritten, by the way. We wrote that by ourselves. That was Jason Bags, in case you don't know. So I haven't tried Tempest, the framework, yet. I know Tempest is a framework that Brent from JetBrains created or is creating, but that's the only thing I know. Pick and Flow is sending me a video. Pick and Flow, what is the video about? Smith is saying doctrine doc blocks are used not only in doctrine, but used in serialization to understand some meta. Interesting. Yeah, we could do a Symfony stream. I think it would be fun. You know, it's always important to really know what other people are doing at the moment. So, have you tried Forge? Of course, dude. I worked on Forge for a couple of years.
Method or an argument or a property, you can add an annotation to almost anything and control a little bit of behavior that way. Keep this in mind. We're going to look at this again in a second. This one is just a huge, massive improvement. It used to be when you were catching an exception, you had to have a variable for that exception, even if you weren't going to use it. Even if you were just simply going to return false, you had to have that little E in there. Now, look at this. Watch this. Watch that E. Amazing. No longer needed.
Yeah,
If that's not reason enough to switch to PHP, I don't know.
It was so annoying to literally have to declare that E all the time. So I'm pretty glad that they just removed it. By the way, chat, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do every single day, not only my daily job, but also here on Twitch and YouTube channels. I want to ask you for your support. Literally go to my YouTube channel and subscribe my YouTube channel right there, because I'm publishing YouTube videos every single day. So if you guys could go there and just subscribe my channel, that would mean the world to me. Today I published a video about inertia, literally telling you guys one of the most powerful configuration options we have on inertia for only publishing the front-end routes we actually need. So yeah, go to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, because I'm publishing content every single day. So thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. And by the way, if you really, 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 really enjoy my channel and my content, you can also financially support my work by just becoming a Tweet subscriber, which is down below. You can subscribe me for free if you're using Prime already, or you can become a YouTube member, and that way you also get access to the YouTube videos one day in advance, which is cool.
To tell you.
Yeah, the last video was a great inertia tip. Dude, one of the people who watched my video said to me, I have an app with 800 routes using Ziggy, and because of your tip, I'm literally able to have a much faster front end. Isn't that great? It's so cool.
Okay, remember those attributes that I told you about literally 2 seconds ago? There's an attribute that will mark an argument as sensitive and redact it from all stack traces, so you don't accidentally end up logging something you shouldn't at a language level. Very cool.
Ooh, this is a very important one that a lot of people forget, literally. You can do something like this, and this will prevent that this password will ever go to the logs or being echoed out on the terminal. This is actually a very good feature of PHP, and a lot of people don't know about this. Sensitive parameter. Write in the chat if you already knew about this feature, because it's actually a very powerful feature and important one. I'm going to tell you something that I always do as a developer, okay? Every single time I'm reviewing code and I spot code that is either unsafe or can be potentially unsafe, or doesn't respect privacy, or can lead to not respect privacy, I always address the problem on the spot. Like literally, on that same pull request, I address the problem. Even if it sometimes concerns code that is not on that pull request, I see a lot of people who just say something like, oh, let's do that later, or let's do that afterwards. We have time next week or whatever. So with me, when concerns privacy or security, it's immediately urgent. Immediately urgent. Just becomes the top priority on my moment is address that problem. So every single time, for example, I see like a variable that contains password or secret or something like this, I make sure it has this attribute always. It's very important. Same goes to very trivial things. That is like, I don't know, you would be surprised to even know that sometimes people develop databases with content that is not encrypted. For me, that it's not acceptable. Like if you have plain passwords or plain secrets in your database, I do not respect that. And if you come with a thing like, oh, it wasn't me, it was already there, I don't care as well. I still don't respect it. You need to address that issue immediately because you are playing with people's privacy, with people's information. So that's always my top priority. And I hope for you guys is the same, because that what makes you like a great developer is a developer that really cares about people, okay? Yeah, I think you are right. Tal TT is saying, it feels like a package for something like this would be useful. I agree with you, but security is such a sensitive topic. Once I came with this Twitter, this Twitter comment, and when I do something like security-wise, people like the security experts will always come like, actually, blah, 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 in this, that's so annoying. But, I may actually do a package that just goes to your project and tries to spot places that you are not, doing things correctly or anything. Smith is saying, we need live examples of using attributes. I agree with you. Chris is saying, the biggest problem with attributes is that it's hard to follow what it does. I agree with you, Chris. I also agree with you. Like seeing the code and when it's running or whatever, that's super complicated. India is asking, how many users have already signed up in Laravel Cloud? Oh, I cannot tell you that, dude. But a lot. Plain passwords, does it still happen? Oh, dude, for sure. Even if you see like sometimes how AI code is generated, that AI code was trained on other people's code, and you see that it contains problems and flaws. So I'm pretty sure it still happens out there. especially the very old websites. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Look at this switch statement. It's hideous. It's huge. We hate it. What we're doing is we're switching on a status code, and then in the body of every status, we're setting a message variable. There's got to be a better way.
Match
There
statement.
is a better way. We can
There we
use
go.
the match statement now and assign.
This is probably, in my ad, not a lot of people are using match statements. So I guess we can also just ask this to people. Do you guys are using match statements already? Did you effectively replace every single usage of switch statements with match statements? I did. I'm using match statements now all the time. Is that your case as well? Match is so beautiful. Even I do agree with you. Match statements are gorgeous. Like just the best thing in the planet. Yeah, match statements became so much more useful than I thought. Like I'm gonna be honest, I thought like when I saw match statements, I thought that they wouldn't actually change my life, and they did. The code becomes so much more simpler. Even if we look at this switch statement just before, just watch the difference between this code in terms of size and the previous one.
There is a better way. We can use
Oh
the
my God.
match.
1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. Oh, a lot of you already using match statements. That's awesome, man. Awesome to read this. Hey, Bunkers, I'm going to share the YouTube video at the end of the live stream on the description of my live, but also potentially if I do a segment on this. But it's on Aaron Francis, his YouTube channel. You just filter by popular and you will see it. Hey, by the way, we actually had, I don't know if you guys saw, did you guys heard the news about Next.js having a security vulnerability? That was a big deal as well. I agree. It's one of the best things. Match statements are one of the best things in PHP. Yeah, that's true.
Statement now and assign the message variable to the result of the match statement. And look, at 200, 300, we can have multiple matches return the same thing. This is a much more compact, much more readable way to write a switch statement that assigns a variable. We've got weak maps now.
I didn't ask you guys, what do you guys think about my haircut? It's a little bit different here. So typically I have a much, how do I say, a much smoother, basically, change between the bottom and the top. But this time I asked literally like this, so we can actually see the difference. So what do you guys think about my haircut? Is it good? Is it... I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, feels good? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you, thank you. Feeling a little bit more confident thanks to you all. I am old and bald, so if someone has hair, looks good to me. For $500, would you do it in red? No.
Know that PHP has weak maps? You can set an object as a key in a weak map where you can't do that in
weak maps. I don't ever have used this feature. Does any of you have used weak maps? I know a friend, Freak from Spassy, who is actually using weak maps for this package called Once. But myself, I have never used weak maps. Okay. Nope. Yeah, it feels like a very niche feature, basically. And the fact that someone like me haven't seen yet the need for this feature feels that a little bit awkward, like why we do even have this to begin with. But apparently it's a popular feature in different languages. So I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy, like seeing weak maps in PHP but not seeing multi-line short closures. It's insane, man. It's insane. Yeah, I think that is probably a niche for this, but I haven't used that. Victor is saying, I think Laravel uses once now with weak maps. Yeah, so actually, the once package uses weak maps, and I did know that because Freak told me, you know. And about if you have a question regarding, or if you need help, by the way, go to my Discord channel, okay? On my Discord channel, we have this room where you can post questions about your existing project, and you can go there, and maybe people will help you out. Today, live stream is not really the place to, help you out with your own code at the moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, so weak maps behave like an array, like an associative array, just like you are saying. But I think there is some power behind the scenes, indeed, to make objects keys, basically. That's what I've read, basically. So you can literally put objects as keys.
An array, and also weak maps are way better for memory because they'll get garbage collected when there's no references to that object anymore.
Okay, this is actually a cool thing. Did you hear Arden Francis? When that object gets cleaned from memory, that weak map doesn't hold any reference to that key anymore, which is very powerful. So that is actually, that is actually a use case for something like this. Still, I'm not using it. Marco is saying, Nuno, did you saw my email? Yeah, I saw your email, dude. I'm gonna answer you, but yeah, I'm very in time. I don't have a lot of time currently for anything really. I don't think this is related to generators. Okay.
He now has enums, so you can have an enum class where you delineate
Okay.
the cases inside.
Enums, Jesus Christ, enums. Please write on the chat if you are using enums. I'm using enums all the time. Like literally all the time. Like on Laravel CloudFront at the moment, every single table has either status or type. So I'm using always enums for everything. This is like a lovely feature. I absolutely love enums. Thank God. And thank the person who have implemented enums in PHP. Let's clap for the person who have implemented enums in PHP because this is so cool. And did you guys know that you can have methods on enums? This is mind-blowing that you can have methods on enums, which is so powerful. No. I don't define enums on the database. I use strings, basically. Oh, you don't know what is enums? Oh, dude, I'm using enums so much, man. I'm going to tell you an example where I'm using enums literally all the time. So let's assume, for example, on this table user, I have something like a type, okay? Let's assume something like that. I have a type. So if I had something like this, what I'm always doing basically, is that I'm going to go to the enums folder and I create the user type. And this is like, a pattern that I have created that every time you see something like users with a type, there is always, but like always, a user type enum placed under app enums that will answer to this. Okay, and then inside this user type, you would have something like this. You just go here, app enums, and you type enum, and you type user type. You always have something like this, but then you can have even more. You can have things like labels, for example, which is so powerful. You can have something like this, label, and you can use match statements. Oh my God, this is so cool. You can use match statements for something like this. If this is an admin, how would you do this again? A static admin or self-admin, I think. I literally forgot. Yeah, self-admin, then you return like the label you actually want. This is so cool. Why the auto-completion is literally broken? What the heck? Okay, here we go. You can use something like this, admin user or whatever as a label, for example, and this would be just client potentially, you know what I mean? You can have labels like regular methods. This is so cool, man. Like honestly, enums are so powerful. You can have so many things, man. You can have something like total. This is so cool. Like honestly, enums are just literally the best thing in the planet. The best thing in the planet at the moment. Just so good. So good. Yeah, match statements in enums. Honestly, we are seeing them both right now, and it's pretty much the game changer for PHP. It's funny because before this, I was using constants, constants on classes, and it was so annoying. So annoying. In Symfony, enums are a little bit different. What do you mean? This is like a PHP feature. Why would in Symfony enums be different? I'm curious about that. Carlson, can you elaborate on your question? What do you mean admin value? So you obviously need, if you need like the real value of these enums, so let's go here, for example. If you need the real values of these enums, you would do something like this, right? Let's say you have user, and this would be the type of the user. And then you'd have, if you really need the string value, would need something like this, But let's actually do that. Let's type user type equals to user type enum admin, for example. And if you need the actual value, you do this, okay? And this will effectively return admin as a native type string, okay? Oh, that's actually a very good question. Even just asked like, how do you prefer the enum keys? Which is actually a very valid question. And I think like a lot of people today, they still didn't yet come with a, there is no PSR 12 for enum keys. So which raises a question. You guys in the chat, how typically you write the admin case? Would you do it this way? Would you do that this way? Or even lowercase? How you do this? Ooh, what do we have here? Admin, all upper, interesting. Uppercase, title case, all upper, full upper, interesting. Okay, we don't see lower cases anywhere, which is interesting. Upper cases, interesting. So a bunch of you actually do it this way, like literally just admin uppercase. So that would basically mean that I need to do it this way. Interesting. I don't know. For some reason, it really reminds me constants this way. Oh, the value I always put uppercase because the value goes to the database, So the real value, like the user type, what ends up on the database is what ends up here on the database column is effectively the value. So I use lowercase always because it feels better, like go to the database and see lowercase everything just feels a little bit more, consistent, I would say. Yeah, value lowercase, right? Can we agree on that, chat? Right on the chat. Can you agree that lowercase values team here for everything? Okay, cool. I think today enums they are still yet people don't use a lot of methods on enums, which is in my opinion one of the most powerful features we can have. Oh, what am I doing here? Jesus Christ. Oh yeah. People still don't use a lot of methods on enums, which is very, very powerful. Hey, Mauricio Barros, you just arrived? Oh, it's fine, man. For those who just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I'm also a Laravel core team member. Today we are reviewing a few videos, going very slowly but surely. We are reviewing a video from Aaron Francis about PHP doesn't suck anymore. And we are just acknowledging like how beautiful the PHP language have become in 2025. And we realized that effectively enums and match statements are so powerful. And we were just discussing like some of these conventions around enum keys in terms of lowercase, uppercase, or Pascal case. And yeah, that was the topic today. So today we have backend enums, but strings, integers. I don't think we have floats. I don't think this works. Exactly. Okay. So currently we have either integers or strings. I think it's a language limitation at the moment, probably. So I use labels for the front end when I have to display some of these enums. What type of things do I have on Laravel Cloud? So I have labels, that's for sure. What type of things do I have? Let me try to remember. I have a true array, I think. Oh, I have an all. Yeah, I remember why. Because sometimes I think it's like the cases effectively do not return you an array. So you need to basically, so if you do something like self cases, this returns still an enum or an array of enums. So when you kind of want to map them, you want to map them to actually their original values. So I have like a trait that does this for me behind the scenes. So I can effectively return this as a prop on inertia and blah, 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 which is still useful.
The body of that class, and those enums can also have a value. So if you want to use the words draft, published, and archived in your...
Yeah, generics would be pretty cool in PHP. I do agree with that. Would be cool. The way I see generics in PHP is you would have generics, but for people who want to use them, it still needs to be kind of optional. I think one of the reasons why PHP is still so popular today, it's because we embrace progress in the very controlled way. Okay, the last thing you want is a totally new language and then leave behind all of these major frameworks like WordPress and Drupal and many others. Okay, so we need to go slowly, like progress slowly, just like we are doing today. That's why PHP is so good today. And we have all of these people still with us. Like literally, WordPress is using the latest version of PHP, Drupal, Symfony, Laravel, and more.
Code base, but you want to use the values 1, 2, and 3 in your database, you can do that with a backed enum. That's not all that enums can do. You can add methods to your enum classes. In this case, we'll add a method that gives a user-friendly display.
Exactly what we were discussing. Literally for the front end, you have these nice labels
to each of the enums, and we're using the match statement again, and we're just matching against this, and all of our cases are our enum cases. One of the great things about having first-class enums is you can now use them as type hints. Yeah. So if a method is expecting an enum, you can hint that enum class, and that way PHP will validate that the incoming argument is that enum. All right, here we go. We're going to run through a bunch of the ways you can add types to PHP. First, you can have typed arguments. In this case, we're saying A and B must both be integers. This is a scalar type hint. You could also type hint classes or enums like we showed earlier. You can have bar.
I don't think I want to see this section because it's basically about just regular type hints. Just for the sake of the discussion, it's very rare that I have something like this, like union types, or also I literally forgot the name, but this I've never used, like literally. This thing right here, I never use. Never, literally. Union types, it may happen that I use union types, but it's also rare. And this stuff, I literally never use. Ever in my life, that's for sure. It may happen like in packages or at the framework level, but on the web development, like real world bread and butter web development, never happens. Okay. Oh, you guys don't know the difference between this and self? I can explain a little bit if you guys don't know. So this refers to the current instance. Okay. Self refers to the current class, and static refers to the current class, but basically, instead, if you are using static, you may actually be referring as well to the parent class. So typically, just avoid static and use self all the time. And yeah, that's basically the difference. Okay.
For this specific video, property is of type
Oh my
string,
god, that was
and
a
the
big
public
one as
date
well.
property
Promotion. Jesus Christ. This is another one. Literally all the time. All the time. Are you guys using property promotion already? Because I am using this stuff all the time.
is of type date time. Now this is a little repetitive, isn't
yeah.
it? We've got the two
It
properties
was so
at the
annoying.
top. We've got the two arguments in the constructor, and then in the constructor we have to set the class level properties. This is a little verbose. This is how we used to have to do it until the PHP gods introduced constructor property promotion, and now you can put the visibility in your constructor signature. You can say public string title, and it will end up as a...
How could we forget about this when we were talking about enums and in match statements? This one was so big as well, man. Like, thank the gods in the world, in everything, in the energies in the planet for bringing this stuff to PHP as well. It was so annoying. Jesus Christ. I'm using this all the time as well. Yeah, property promotion is just so good, man. It was so annoying. You have to literally just type that stuff all the time.
Public property on your class. This is called constructor promotion. I don't love that you end up with an empty constructor body.
Yeah, that's true. That's annoying.
But I do love that it reduces all of that boilerplate. If you want to mark a property as read-only, meaning that it can only be initialized once and then never changed, there's a keyword for that. You can say that a property is read-only.
Pick and flow, you like the old way? That's interesting, dude, because I feel like you probably like the old way because it gets a little bit of time to get used to this. But I can tell you, pick and flow, like once you get used to property promotion, you just use it all the time. You know, you just use this all the time. Ahmedabad is asking, what does read-only does? Well, read-only is to avoid, it's kind of making the property immutable. You know what I mean? So if I go here to the console PHP, for example, if I have something like a class person, which is a value object, and then you have something like, let's see, public function constructor with a read-only name in the read-only age, you can only set this once if the property is public. I can show you an example. Let's go here and type person equals to new person with the name John Doe, age 30. So in the past, you could actually change the name like this. Let's type here peak and flow. You could actually do something like this. So if I remove read-only, for example, this will actually work. Here we go, peak and flow on the console right there. But if you make it read-only, now this is not allowed, which is pretty cool. Ensures immutability. Immutability is a good thing, okay? It avoids side effects. It avoids problems overall. So you want to avoid that. So this is basically telling me that, my property should be read-only. And even better, you can actually make the entire class read-only now. So instead of having like read-only in two properties, you can make the entire class read-only, which is 1,000 times better. Okay, and if you do this, it's complaining because probably I'm not using PHP. Wait, what? Oh, here we go. And now this will still not work because it's a read-only property because of this. Okay. Exactly. Well, that was a good way. It's funny. Ahmedabad is saying makes the property unmodifiable. That's a good name for that, by the way. It's a much better name than immutable. Okay? In the programming world, for some reason, people call this immutability. Okay? which means that the state doesn't change, which effectively a worse name than the one you just said, unmodifiable. So congratulations for telling me that name. Just in case, saying immutability should be the default. Well, that's the case. You cannot do something by default. Well, let me rephrase this. It can be the default for us, it can be the default for me or for you, but it cannot just be the default by default. Otherwise, it will break people's projects, you know? Chris is saying, I'm grateful that they solved the clone issue with the read-only. I do agree with you. Even is asking if I use value objects in my projects. Depends on the project, but sometimes I use value objects indeed. Well, Ahmedabad, it's funny that you say that you said that because you're not good with your English, but I genuinely think that unmodifiable is a better word than immutable. So thank you for saying that. F. Berento is saying, why don't you use value objects instead of arrays when passing data to actions? Again, depends on the project. I didn't say that I don't use them. It just depends on the project. I don't use the fluent helper. I think it's a bad idea overall. You can just use arrays for something like that. Yeah, Rust, his immutability system is pretty cool. In case you don't know, people, in Rust, every single variable is immutable by default. And you need to explicitly say that the variable is mutable if you want that variable to become mutable, which is pretty cool.
You can do that in the constructor as well. If your entire class is read-only, you can mark the class as read-only instead of marking each individual property as read-only. A lot of stuff has changed. If you haven't been paying attention, you might think PHP is dead, but alas, it is not dead. Let's talk about speed. Every time I make a video, people are like, yeah, but PHP is so slow. PHP between like 5.6 and 7 experienced a 400% performance increase, and then I think another 20% between 7 and 8.
Wow, PHP 7 was 4 times faster than PHP 5.6, which is insane. Now, I do have a real world story to tell you guys. When I was working, this was what? Probably 12 years ago. I was working on this social media, literally a social media like Facebook, a website. And back then it was developed in PHP 5.6 and PHP 7 just came out. And I remember migrating the entire web server from PHP 5.6 to PHP 7. And we experienced, just by doing that, a 30% improvement on requests. That was insane for us, okay? I don't know how many of you have experiences like this of migrating PHP versions and effectively seeing a performance improvement, but I did saw this. Roberto99 is saying that PHP 7 was a free page speed boost. Oh, dude, it was so good. I still remember that day. Then when we saw like literally our, Grafana shards saying that the response time went like 30% faster just by doing that, it was so good. Ahmedabad is asking if PHP is faster than Golang. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. When you come to these levels of speed, it doesn't matter if you are faster anymore. It's kind of difficult to explain, but for us, for people like me and you, PHP is as fast as Go, is even as fast as Rust at the moment. Because for the things we do, which is web development, the nanoseconds or the microseconds do not matter anymore. You know what I mean? Because you are going to spend your time. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something, and I may do a segment about this. When comparing a language to another language, do not ever talk about being faster or performance, because literally, for the things that me and you do, like web development, nanoseconds do not matter anymore. Okay? They don't matter. Nanoseconds, microseconds, we don't care about that. I'm going to explain you why. There is a reason behind this. The reason is because when talking about web development, there is this huge portion that just takes all of the time, which is called network. The time that your client takes to go to your server is where 80% of the time will be spent. Okay? Then you have 20% left. And typically, those 20% will be spent on database queries or things like this, basically. Database queries, connecting to a new service, for example. It's never about the language. Okay? So if you think that performance on languages matter, they don't, at least for web development. Of course, if you are coding microchips with very limited amount of memory or whatever, yeah, sure, go for Rust or C or C++. But for web development, performance is never a reason when choosing languages. I don't know if you guys agree with me. If you agree with me, let me know, because this is just my opinion. Oh, thank you, Ivan. Nunoseconds? Oh my god. Yeah, network is the biggest bottleneck, then the database, and then everything else, and finally the language. That's basically you know what I mean? Then the language. Justin is saying where Go outshines PHP is on data processing on huge data sets. But again, Justin, those data sets will be read from somewhere else. You know what I mean? And if it's a database, time will be spent on the database, like 90%. If it's the disk, will be I/O. So very rare that we talk about performance on the language as being a problem, because it never is. Yeah, I verily, Victor, you probably spend the time debugging slow database queries because you write performant code. There is people who still write not good code, in terms of performance. Peek and Flow is sending me a link to a website that compares language performances. This is a difficult website to understand. Pick and Flow, if you have like a chart that compares languages performances, that would be cool.
So PHP is not as slow as you remember. So if you need something like 50,000 requests per second, you should probably still not use PHP for that. But look at me, listen to me. When have you personally needed 50,000 requests a second? How many users do you have? So PHP is fast enough. It is fast enough for most of your use cases. And if you need a specialized use case, use a specialized language. But the PHP of yore is not the same as the PHP of today. It is much, much faster. It is much, much better. And it is not dead. See ya.
Oh my god, let's clap for Adam Francis. This video was awesome, and I really appreciate that he have made an amazing video about the PHP language. Okay. Okay, well, we have 10 videos to see today, and it's literally almost 2 hours on the live stream, which is so funny. So I guess, what time is it? Yeah, it's just too late already. But maybe let's see if we have a small video for us to see. I want to see this video because I haven't seen this video yet. It's called Interview with a Senior JavaScript Developer. I think we have seen already this one, which is Interview with a Senior PHP Developer, but not with a JavaScript developer. So I want to see this one. Yeah, Adam Francis is the most sweetest person I have ever met. He is so good, is such a good friend, such a good person to hang out with. I love Aaron Francis. Property hooks. Yeah, I've made a video about property hooks. Just by the way, chat, if you just arrived, remember, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. We just watched a video about how PHP have become so good in 2025. We are about to see an interview of a senior JavaScript developer now. And I haven't watched this video. I'm super curious to see how cool it is. If you don't know this guy, this is a very humorous guy. But yeah, we're about to see this. Hey, Joel, see you tomorrow, man. Yeah, he is a very good communicator as well. He is a talented guy, that's for sure. Hey, by the way, Shad, which language do you use for work? We were talking about performance. We talked about different situations. Which language do you use for work? Right? If you use PHP, just write PHP. If you use JavaScript, only just write JavaScript. What do you use today for your daily job, basically? Interesting. Arthur is saying uses PHP and Go. Interesting. Most of people use PHP. Oh, Marcus, you use Symfony? I want to do a live stream about Symfony to see how Symfony is in 2025. Most people use PHP. That's interesting. Scala? Yeah, whoa, that's interesting. Scala is, the last time I've worked with Scala, it was such a pain to build. Jesus Christ. Okay, I see like 98% of people here use PHP. Okay, chat, let's see this interview with senior JavaScript developer. Again, this is basically, a fun video, okay? Do not take anything here serious, that's for sure. But let's see. I didn't ever work with brainfuck, no. Brainfuck is actually a language, by the way. Hey, see you tomorrow, Luis.
This week is different. JavaScript. Well, that was a tool chain from last week. This week is different. JavaScript. Let me just put this. I have 3 production outages named after me. 4. My job is to keep our code running while other packages are changing theirs. Should you learn JavaScript? Nope. Is there any other option? Nope. Oh look, another library was added today.
That's so true. Like for the front end, there is anything else besides JavaScript today? Like, let's be honest. We may not want to work with JavaScript, but do we have any other option today for the front end? Do you guys know about any other option? Because I don't. Like, literally, we just either have to use React today or Vue, and that's it. Oh yeah, we can use, effectively, we can use simple options for the front end, like Blade, Livewire. But, I personally feel like Livewire is a great option. It steals, in my opinion, in terms of, SPA feeling. It's not the same as React, but, Even if saying I use Livewire, at least I don't see the JavaScript. Yeah, because Livewire is effectively a lot of JavaScript. I think that is not another language for the front end because you have all this legacy of front end that are called browsers, which they just work with JavaScript, So it's a very sensitive topic. Just in case saying I love TypeScript, inertia is great. Yeah, that's a good stack. I agree. You still have to write JavaScript, basically. Unity for the front end? I have never heard about that. Hey, Dabibi. What's up, dude? How you doing?
patch the problems of any other option? Nope. Oh look, another library was added today to patch the problems of the other 150 that were also released. Did you know JavaScript was actually written in 7 days? Such a messy language. I love it. Did you know JavaScript was actually not written in 7 days? No one ever knows.
Yeah, I heard this story when I was learning JavaScript back in the days. JavaScript, the language, took 7 days to write. 7 days to write. 7. And I also have heard that JavaScript, the language, was not called JavaScript back in the days. It was called something else. But because Java was so popular, they call it JavaScript, so it would appeal to the enterprise customers. Isn't this a funny story? It's insane. I don't even know. Let me see. Wait. JavaScript original name. Mocha. Really? Mocha was the original name of JavaScript, and then it became LiveScript. This is insane. And then it became JavaScript. Wow. Yeah, apparently, like the the language back in the days was developed to work with this Netscape navigator. Does any of you is old enough to have worked or used Netscape? Does any of you is old enough to have used this browser? Because I am not. I don't know this browser. I have never used this browser. How this browser looked like, though? Oh, wow. It looked like this, apparently. Honestly, looks way better than I expected. Wait, what? Did you guys actually use this? How old you guys are? Like 60? You paid for Netscape? Oh, this was paid? I'm so confused. Wait a second, but this was paid? You had to pay to use this? Exactly, just pay for something like this? It feels a little bit awkward, I don't know. That's insane. So this pretty much looks like today, like realistically. Today we have this back and forward as well. We have the home page, we have the reload as well. We have the find, of course. We have this location, which looks a little bit better now. And this is like the website itself, I assume, with links and everything. I assume they have like, let me see. Netscape Navigator latest version. Okay, the latest version looks like a little bit like Internet Explorer, but looks 1,000 times better. Netscape 6. Why you guys talk about Netscape 6? It was like a value. It was a popular version or what? Yeah, this is like 1,000 times better than the version 1 for sure. Oh, just in case saying, I feel bad for young developers that don't know the pain that was making a web page look like the same without all those standards. Yeah, I remember like, I remember the Internet Explorer situation, and I have, developed websites where I had always special code for Internet Explorer. So I do remember that. Okay. Oh, tables were the thing. Yeah, absolutely. Tables were, the thing back in the days. Yeah, this looks pretty much similar to a modern website. I'm going to be honest. We have pretty much all of the same options today. A little bit more fancy and, with better icons, but it looks the same. I liked I liked pretty much how these websites were super clear to see. Sometimes I feel like today websites have so much ads and so much colors, and they're confusing for my eyes basically. In this kind of layout, while it feels old school a little bit, it's so readable. You can literally read very well with this kind of simple style, I feel.
Knows what value variable is or what its type is. Now we use TypeScript. We still don't know. I'd rather use Rust or WebAssembly. They say adoption is coming. They said that 10 years ago. They say that every year, but this year is different. Is it scalable? No. Is it maintainable? No. Is it portable? Not really. Yeah, we used React. We actually used Preact. We actually used Svelte. We actually went back to vanilla JavaScript. Yeah, we're using a library for this. Well, that we rewrote to vanilla JavaScript because it wasn't efficient. We're stuck with this messy language now.
Yeah, I remember like the times in 2017, 2018 were super messy for the JavaScript world in terms of frameworks, basically, and but also like this tool chaining, like VOD, package managers, frameworks. It was so confusing like 10 years ago, because we would see like stuff coming up all the time. And I remember like learning everything I had to know about JavaScript in 2015 and coming 1 year after, and the builder wasn't the same, the framework wasn't the same. It was overwhelming, to be honest, like overwhelming. Exactly. Grunt, gulp, bower, like, oh my god, it was so. Wait. Do not talk about jQuery, because jQuery was solid. Like, you know, I remember learning jQuery in 2010, for example, coming 2 years after, and it's still jQuery. And jQuery still worked with the same API. Everything was the same. But then in 2015, 16, we had new frameworks and tool chains and builders all the time. And that was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. I feel like today we don't have that problem anymore with things like React, for example. React is kind of stable for the last 4 years already. People were using React 4 years ago, and they are still using React after 4 years. So, feels 1,000 times better. By the way, chat, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro. Reviewing currently this video about interviewing a senior JavaScript developer, which is obviously a video with a lot of fun. A bunch of chat today. I'm just chatting with you all. Feels good, it feels funny. It's good also to recharge some batteries of some live coding. And yeah, you can support my work by just giving me a follow and a subscription on YouTube if you want to. I'm publishing YouTube videos every single day, but also, live streaming at 9 p.m. every single day as well. You can also financially support my work if you want to by becoming a Twitch member or a Twitch subscriber, which you just do down below, and you become, a subscriber of my channel. And if you use Prime, it will be for free. And you can equally become a YouTube member if you want to.
I love it. JavaScript.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
It's the
That's another thing. I remember like accessing the prototype in JavaScript was kind of a thing, which is not a thing anymore. I cannot remember the last time I had to access the prototype in JavaScript. Mainly because I'm also using a bunch of TypeScript at the moment, so which technically forbids that. what is the best stack to learn if you want a job after you learn Laravel? I would probably learn, React, Inertia, or Livewire. I think those both stacks will give you a job position for sure. I don't use classes in JavaScript. I think classes in JavaScript were a mistake. I still think classes in JavaScript were a mistake. Classes in JavaScript, they lead to a much bigger size on the build. On top of that, why would you use classes on JavaScript? There is no reason for it. You can just use functions. It's a functional API, so why would you use classes for this? Oh, jQuery is still massively popular today, and I do know that. jQuery is massive. And I bet, I won't make that question, but I bet that if I ask right now, all of the viewers, 30%, 40% are still using jQuery. Easy, easy. I have tried WebAssembly once, probably like 4 years ago. It's very raw. Feels like a prototype, to be honest. Feels like a prototype. Oh, you see, a lot of people are using jQuery. I knew that.
Standard. Do you know there's a library for that? I wouldn't trust the, let's say, finance application with JavaScript. What our finance application does is, yeah, it's totally fine to use JavaScript, but I'd recommend using TypeScript. Not that we do. We had callback hell, and then we went to promises. Await came out, we went back to promises, and now we rewrote everything back to callbacks because it's just more comfortable. At least you know it's bad. Oh, it's probably just a quick fix. Will take me 3 to 5 days to find it. We tried CoffeeScript, rewrote our code base, tried TypeScript, rewrote our code base, and then we went back to vanilla JavaScript because it's just more comfortable. So we rewrote our code base again. Yeah, we used React, and then React 16.8 came out, and we had to rewrite everything to hook.
Yeah, rewrite, well, in general, rewrites are a mistake, okay? 90% of the times you are thinking about doing a rewrite, that's a mistake. Okay? You need to have a very good reason to rewrite something. Involves a lot of time. Typically, the rewritten software is never finished. So you need to be very careful when you start the rewriting of your software. That is just my opinion.
React 17 came out, we had to rewrite everything again, and then React Scripts was updated to version 0.4, and we had to fix everything to work with local images. And now React version 18 is coming out. We'll rewrite everything again. We rewrote our code base around 9 times this month. Yeah, you can use Redux, it's totally fine. But if you're on it, I'd recommend you use Redux Toolkit. But actually it's better to use Flux or Flumux or Fluxible. Actually, better to use Recall, not that we do. But now React came out with the hooks and context API, which apparently is better than Redux, apparently. We'll rewrite everything again. Sometimes it just doesn't transpile. We usually rewrite our code base then. We actually wrote a custom transpiler to transpiler. It's such a messy language. We use it for our website, desktop app, mobile app, for the fridge, the Tesla. It's not actually native. I mean, it is actually native, but it's sort of not really native. It's sort of hybrid native, but some of it is native. I mean, some people use it in a native way, but we don't really use it in a native way, technically. A lot of people are switching back to native. No one has switched yet. Angular? Talk to me when you use Angular 2 or React. NPM is such a bad package manager. No one uses that anymore.
I actually have heard stories that Angular have become a good framework. Like, Angular was kind of good on Angular 1, and then I think it was like Angular 2 that was super bad. Nobody liked it and kind of almost died. But I think Angular kind of overcame those things, and now it's becoming a good framework again. That's what I've heard of. I don't know if you guys have any experience with that. The new one is kind of nice. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Davey is saying Angular and AngularJS are different things. Interesting. Can you elaborate? I had no idea. Yeah, Angular, I think they actually became a a good thing to use. That's what I have heard about some of my friends who are using Angular now. I actually had an app on AngularJS. That was a long time ago. I think it was Angular 1. Roberto99 is saying that's another reason why PHP is better for backend than JS, that we don't have new frameworks every month. Yeah, it will be very difficult to top Laravel today in PHP. Oh my god, I still remember Vue.js. Do you guys remember Vue.js version 1? That was kind of the peak of Vue.js in my opinion. I loved Vue.js at V1. It was so simple to use with Blade.
NPM is such a good package manager. How many languages have one? So that major version breaks our code, but our code breaks the minor version. I still don't know how to fix pure dependencies until this day. Yarn, bit, pnpm, turbo would make sense, right? JavaScript doesn't think so. jQuery? What are you, 5? We use jQuery. Global variables?
Wait, what?
No one uses them. It must be somewhere in the...
jQuery? Is that a thing? No, there is no jQuery, right? Okay, maybe I misheard it, basically. jQuery, there's no jQuery, right? Maybe I misheard it. I think I misheard it. Oh, Vue.js is still very popular in the Laravel world, that's for sure.
No. How do you debug Node apps? You don't. You just write good code.
Smith is saying, oh, jQuery. What is that? Wait, what? Huh? There is no jQuery. What the heck, man? Yeah, I think it was an Uber thing. Yeah, for sure. Nothing really.
But not in JavaScript. No one ever masters JavaScript. I get 100,000 points in Stack Overflow. I'm still a noob. Node is technically more...
Oh my god, you guys remember Stack Overflow? That's so much dead, like literally. I cannot remember the last time I went to Stack Overflow. Like, ChatGPT and all this AI assistants pretty much destroyed Stack Overflow. Totally, because you can just ask AI instead.
Multi-threaded. JavaScript is technically performant. Our code is never safe. One day it'll blow up, probably won't work here anymore. Probably we'll be using Rust or WebAssembly or whatever, JS. An array is technically just an object. Objects are objects. Null is technically not an object, but objects can be null, so they technically can be non-object unless they're an object, right? So technically null is an object. Yes. It's a bit hacky, I admit. But JavaScript is by design. Is it easy to learn? Have you tried JavaScript? Probably will be a bit hacky. Have you used JavaScript before? I don't recommend. Well, I don't like our toolchain. Documentation? And another advantage is that it's free. So was Java before it was bought by Oracle. So we prepare ourselves by installing modules from npm. Then we compile it to TypeScript. Then we use a transpiler called Bubble to transpile it to ES5, load it with system.js, file for bankruptcy, bundle it all up with Webpack, use it in a framework like React, and let the state be managed by Redux, or Flummox, or Fluxible, or Recoil, or whatever, JS. And voila! All of this just to avoid using jQuery, or in our case, jQuery. But that'll be probably less performant, as most of the things. This isn't our production code. It will be tomorrow though. Probably gonna get fired, again. I mean, there's really no alternative to JavaScript right now. De facto. No one really knows what the value is until we get an error. I love it. Well, try writing anything without JavaScript nowadays. JavaScript.
This guy is so hilarious, man. This channel, by the way, it's called Programmers Are Also Human, in case you don't know. And it has more than 234k subscribers, which is insane. And, you know, the guy is hilarious. I love it. This is not our production code, but probably will be tomorrow. It's so hilarious, man. Sucking Guy is asking, should I use TypeSense or Algolia? Well, Algolia is a paid product, so with TypeSense, at least you can try it locally and for free. Hey, David, how you doing? Okay, guys, let's just plan a little bit. Friday is live stream. So today we have seen this Aaron Francis video, but also this JavaScript developers video. I want to check this Povilla's repeating DB queries, junior code review, but also, how is it called? Yeah, this one. TypeScript in Laravel starter kits, quick demo. So I think Povilla's is kind of opinionated on TypeScript. So when I hear his opinion about this topic, and I'm going to save this for next Friday. Meanwhile, please go to my Discord channel, by the way. Go to my Discord channel, and I have just literally created a channel where you can post links to videos so we can react together on stream. So today we have obviously this video from Aaron Francis, and there was like a blast to review this with you all. It was super fun to me. So I think if you guys go to my Discord channel, you can equally post videos that you think might be interesting. So if you know, for example, very well Povilla's, you can go to his YouTube channel and just, your favorite videos or the videos that you think will spark a bunch of discussion between us, just post that video on my Discord channel and I'm going to review it next Friday. So next Friday, I think will be just about Povilla's in his videos because he has a lot of opinions. And I have a lot of opinions as well. And you guys have a lot of opinions as well. So this will be super fun as a live stream. So that being said, I won't be here tomorrow because tomorrow I will add over to, to a city close by to be with friends. So tomorrow I won't do a live stream, but I will be back next Friday with content with Povilla's. That being said, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to raid Theo, his live stream at the moment on Twitch. Thank you so much for being here today. It was an awesome time. I had a blast with you guys reviewing some YouTube videos. Thank you so much for coming and see you guys next Friday. So that being said, peace out.